Truth or Consequences, To Tell the Truth, The Price is Right, The Joker's Wild, Jeopardy, Let's Make a Deal, This Is Your Life, Beat the Clock, Concentration, and most importantly, Survivor. We are now living in the United States in a game show world.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And today, under the heading of those three things, we are going to play a game show. So stay tuned. And now, here's the host of this show, Mr. D.C. Washington. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you very much. It's great to be here. All right, I'm D.C. Washington, and are you ready to play Truth or Consequences? Let's get this game started. All right, according to Wikipedia, 102 people die in car accidents daily in the United States. That's the truth. So far, 700 people on average have died on a daily basis in this country as of July 2nd. Yesterday, we broke a record with 50,000 new coronavirus cases. By the way, how are other people doing? Well, New Zealand, 0 cases. China, or I should say it correctly, China has 3 cases in a month with a population of 1.4 billion, with a B, people. We have 4% of the world's population and 1/3 of the deaths worldwide. You know, nobody knew what was going on with this COVID-19, so there's trial and error. That's the truth. Now, when you compare this a little bit to, you know, one of the things people say, oh, we need our freedom, we need this, we need that. You know, in car accidents, it is now mandatory that seat belts be worn and that each new car has an airbag. Hey, that's taken away from my freedom. Why should I have to wear a seatbelt? That could, you know, upset my fashion statement. And you know what a fashionista I am. All right. Now, I'm D.C. Washington. So what's Washington, D.C. doing? Well, the man in charge, Truth, he hopes the virus is going to go away. We've heard it so many times. Here are the consequences, though. Hope is not a plan. The lack of leadership that we're getting from our nation's capital is literally making us sick. We are now in a time frame where the big fight is complacency versus compliance. You know, when we first started and everybody was locked down, the numbers did actually start to go down. And then before we reached the guidelines that they themselves constructed, that the task force constructed, what happened? People didn't follow the guidelines, and people got complacent. There was no compliance with the 3 basic simple things: wash your hands, social distance, and wear a mask. Those things were proven to work, but we stopped doing it because we got complacent. Fact, truth, patchwork solutions do not work. We can't have a finger in the dike mentality where you put your finger in the dike and a new leak will spring. We're seeing that happen all over the country. And just taking one state, California, you know, they were one of the first ones. They were doing a really good job, and they stopped everything, and then people got complacent. People went to the beaches, people gathered in crowds, and in the LA area, Southern California, it's going like crazy again. On the other hand, in the very same state, in the San Francisco Bay Area, they have things pretty much under control. We need to have a no more patchwork. We can't have, 50 generals. We have to have one governing body that takes care of these things. That's how the other countries, the New Zealands, the South Koreas, the Chinas, the European Union, that's how they handled it, and look at their numbers. Have we talked about modeling success anytime on this channel? Hello, model success. We need a national policy. It's kind of like having, if you stop and think about it, Rodney Dangerfield as the president. You know what Rodney used to say, get no respect. Get no respect. I met the Surgeon General the other day. He offered me a cigarette. What is our president doing? He's talking to us about injecting bleach and going to a crowded rally during a pandemic. Talk about no respect. And the biggest transgressors, and it's easy to understand the why, because they're itchy. They want to get out there. I'm kind of in the seasoned category as far as age group is concerned, and I don't feel the necessity to go out to a nightclub every night or to get a tattoo or do various other things that, and I can understand young people wanting to do that. I was young once. Eli, I was young once. But young people are the kindling for a fire that will be raging. They're taking the attitude of, hey, it's not going to happen to me, or if it does, what's the big whoop? I'll recover. And first of all, that's false thinking, because there's a percentage of young people that are really, really getting sick. But most importantly, there's that basic selfishness of not having the patriotism to look out for your fellow citizens. Where has that gone? Sometimes it's good to be selfish. When you're blocking out your time, when you have a singleness of purpose, when people are trying to distract you, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. You need to be selfish with your time. And then there are other things where it's not time to be selfish. It's time to look out for the other guy. This is one of those times. That's the mindset that we have to get across. Why? Because people are even the younger people, they're going to be going into the hospitals, the numbers are increasing, and people are not going to be able to get full medical care because the hospitals are all full of COVID patients. If you look at it, we are reaping what we are sowing. Now, I have a question for you. Is it possible to put the genie back in the bottle? And the answer is a resounding yes. But it's not apparently going to come from the federal government, which is a shame, because that bully pulpit has tremendous influence and tremendous number of supporters, and we need to get everybody on board to get this thing under control. What's going to be required is a lot like the BLM movement that we just saw. We need a grassroots movement, because we're going to be doing it without the benefit of national leadership. How do I know that these things are going to work? Evidence-based practices tell us that if you maintain that social distancing, we may have to shut down again. We were working on trial and error, and we found the error. The error was people got complacent and people went back to the way it was. They didn't grasp that things are not going to be normal, at least for the time being, until we get this vaccine to eliminate this scourge. But evidence-based practices told us once, we closed everything down, the numbers started to go down, we got encouraged, but we got too encouraged. And we didn't show patience, we didn't show stamina. And literally, it's killing us. We've got to do the things necessary, because this thing's going to go on and on and on and on. And it's great to hope for a vaccine, but there's no guarantee that there ever will be one. How long have we been looking for a cure for cancer? We're still working on it, and it's still happening. This virus is something that we hope and pray we're going to get a vaccine that's going to solve the problem, but you can't count on that. You hope for the best, you prepare for the worst. And preparing for the worst in this case means locking down certain things to prevent the spread. You know, in the beginning, when we had somewhat of a small crisis, we had choices of things that we can do. But now, the crisis is so big that the crisis is controlling us. It's something, it's getting to the point where there are no choices. We must do this, we must do that. But we're still not quite there yet, so let's take those steps right now. You can't have the typical July 4th mentality in an era of a pandemic. And the other thing, excuse me, is the only time that there should be a government face-off between science and politics is in a Terminator movie. And we are not in a movie. We are in a real-life fight to survive, and we're losing badly because we're not grasping the basics that are needed. And once we do that, our numbers will start to go down, they will start to become manageable, and then we will be in the position that these other countries have where they can effectively trace. But you can't trace 50,000 new people every day. It's just not possible to do it. But once you get the numbers down, and you have a smaller number, then it becomes significantly easier to trace, contact, quarantine, and eliminate. And because we never end a rant on a philosophical note, I'll be back. Let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.